Simply Food by TY.
I know. That clip looked real good, didn't it? It's okay, it's okay. Calm down, calm down. Get your little notepad, get your pen and paper, and come on into the kitchen, honey. So before we even get too far into this video, let me give you guys a list of the ingredients, which as you can see is pretty simplistic. You're gonna need 10 Goya empanada discs. You're gonna need 2 tablespoons of butter. Now I use the Ghirardelli sea salt caramel to put on the top of them when they're done, which you guys will see later. That's completely optional. You do not have to do that, but that's just what I like to do as a little extra little treat. And Lucky Leaf Premium Caramel Apple. Now this is a 20-ounce can. Now if you want yours to taste like mine, which I know you want them to taste just like mine, go to Walmart. Walmart is the place that carries this Lucky Leaf Premium Caramel Apple fruit filling. I'm telling y'all, this stuff is everything. And then to top it off, you're also going to need 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt. So now let's jump into the video and let's get to cooking, okay? Okay, you guys, so the first step in making your caramel empanadas is that you want to make sure, first of all, that you already have the empanada disc out and getting to room temperature. They're always going to come in the frozen section, and these are really hard to work with when they're frozen. It's pretty much impossible. They'll just snap. So you want to make sure that you're getting these to room temperature. So while you're taking care of the filling part, just take them out of the freezer. They don't really take that long to unthaw, and you'll be good to go. This little water here is going to come in handy in a few moments, but we'll get to that soon. But the first thing you want to do is to take the apples and to put them in the glass jar. Now, as you guys can see, these are sliced apples. These are not whole apples or diced apples. These are sliced. I prefer to get these ones because I can break them up myself, and then I can control how big the pieces of the apple filling is. The same thing with the butter. You want to make sure that the butter is almost room temperature. It just makes it easier to mix in. You're also going to put in that 1/8 of a teaspoon of the salt as well. Now that's just to help cut some of the sweetness that's going to come in later on. Now I just take my fork and I just slowly break up the butter into the apples. Now I don't cook this off. I just think that's an unnecessary step. And I also think if you keep the butter like this, instead of cooking it pre-hand to putting it inside the disc, it'll make the inside of your disc nice and buttery and flaky because it'll still have nice chunks of butter, which is lovely. So right now, like I said, I'm just trying to slowly break this up. So I'm gonna keep on doing this, and then I will come back and we'll show you the next step, which is putting it inside of the disc. All right, guys, so as you guys can see here, as you can see all of the white specks, that is all of that delicious cold butter that is now completely mixed through your apple pie filling. This, to me, is one of the key steps. You don't want to pre-cook this mix down because, to me, having this, so think of it when you're making biscuits. When you're making biscuits, you always want to apply cold butter to the flour so that when you bite into it and you break it open, those little flakes of butter will be included. That's the exact same thing that we're applying to making these apple empanadas. Now, the good thing about these empanadas is, you guys, if you don't like apples, you can put whatever you want in them. And I'll make sure I tag up at the top of the screen right here my recipe for my pastelillos, my beef empanadas. If you guys don't want dessert ones and you want to make beef ones, I have a recipe available that I did a while back that you guys absolutely should try out. So remember I told you guys that I have this water here? That's to put around the edge here. That's gonna keep everything nice and sealed. So you don't wanna be shy about this. Just go on ahead and really get that nice and tacked down. Now some of these might act a bit foolish on me because I did not take these out the freezer earlier enough, but they're thawed enough. Now, just so that you can keep it even, I use 1 tablespoon. And it's fine if it's, you know, overflowing, whatever. But you don't want to put too much is the thing. So I feel if you just do it this way, it kind of keeps it so that it's always going to be even. Then, remember this beauty here, you all. I told y'all that this was going to come in handy. So now what I do is I take a very thin squirt of the sea salt caramel and I just put a thin line right across the center. That's it. Do not put too much of that. I know you're gonna want to. I get it. Because I'll be wanting to do the same thing. I get it. But honey, if you do it, you're gonna set yourself up for failure. You are gonna set yourself up for failure. So the first thing you wanna do is to close it up. Get yourself a fork. And we're gonna pinch this down on both sides, you guys. Both sides. Because you have to be extra, extra, extra careful when you're cooking with sugars, and especially if you're gonna be deep frying something, you really wanna make sure that that stuff don't go leaking out because it's gonna make a mess. Now see, this one here is a little bit ripped, but it's gonna be okay because I'm gonna flip it over, and then I'm gonna do it again on the bottom side. Just to make sure that we're pressing everything together. Then what I do, just sit these on a plate and just repeat the process. So it's really that simple, you guys. This is not a hard thing to make. All you do is take out the disc, put 1 tablespoon of the filling, a thin line of the sea salt caramel on the inside, pinch them down on the bottom side and on the top side. Get yourself a plate, stack them to the side, and then we're gonna fry them off. So I'm gonna show you guys this one more time, and then I'm gonna finish off all these, and then I'll take you over to the grease. So the next thing that you wanna make sure that you're doing while you are preparing your shells is to have your oil in your pan already ready to go. Now, I'm not necessarily deep frying these, but I have a wide enough pan that you guys will see where they'll be somewhat submersed. You don't have to deep fry them, but you also don't want to pan fry them. So you want it a happy and medium so that they are halfway covered, not fully submerged, if you get what I'm saying. So just have your oil ready to go so that you don't have to stress about that. So I'm gonna show you guys this one more time, and then I'm gonna finish them off. So we have our shell here. Take your water, apply that to the edge. And baby, when I tell y'all, you will never need to go to Taco Bell again. But honey, I heard that they had got rid of the apple empanadas at Taco Bell, honey. So to hell with them. Y'all just stick with old TY and I'll make sure you're good to go. Trust me. I ain't get this damn big for no reason. All right. So we got that in there. Just put a little bit more. Okay. And then the thin line. And the good thing is that this bottle actually only comes out in really tiny amounts, so it's perfect. It'll be really, really hard for you to overfill this. So I like to turn it towards me because it's just easier for me to work that way. And as you're pushing down, push the filling back. That'll also help keep, you know, the majority of the stuff on the inside. And if stuff is coming out on the side, let it do it. It's much better for it to come out on the cutting board than it, you know, coming out in your pan, because then, you know, your oil will stop burning quick and ain't nobody got time for that. So we did it on the one side, flip her over, and now we're gonna do it on the bottom side. And this is, like I said, just to ensure that it is nice and sealed. Now this process you wanna make sure you're doing kind of quickly, because as they begin to unthaw more and more, they will start to get really, really tacky to the hand, to the touch. But as you guys can see, these are the caramel apple empanadas. So I'm gonna finish off making about 3 more of these for you guys, and then we're gonna start to fry them up. I'll see y'all soon. Alrighty guys, so we are back. So I have my oil here ready to go. I have a cutting board with some paper towel just to soak up some of the grease. We'll transfer them to the serving dish later on. But I have my 3 empanadas right here. So once again, you want to make sure that you have your grease ready to go. Now, I like to start my grease on a lower setting so that I have the option to bring it up if I need to. You don't want these to be jet black on the outside and not completely cooked on the inside. So let's go on ahead and put in our first empanada. Just let that slide off on its own. Just like so. Now, if you all aren't used to cooking, use a spatula. If you're like me, honey, put it in with your hand. If you are a kid, let your mommy or daddy do this part for you. Okay, so as you guys can see, that oil is going at a pretty decent temperature actually right now. So it looks like we're good to go. So I have mine on a medium-low temperature at the moment, which is perfect. You don't really need to mess around with them too much. As you guys can see, they are just slightly submerged. So I'm gonna let it cook on one side for roughly about a minute. I'll keep an eye on it. This is one of those type of things where you kind of just want to gauge it yourself off of the eye. There's nothing really in this uncooked besides the dough, and because this is a nice and thin dough, this process will actually not take long to cook at all. Honest to goodness, the night before, you guys, you can bang these out, get them already made up, pop them back into the fridge. If you want the best results, that's what I would suggest you do, because also that'll keep the crimping completely together. It'll have time to gel back. So I can look at my pan already and see that this one here is starting to brown. So I'm going to flip it up just so that I can see. Perfect. It's slightly browning. And once I start to see it brown, then that's when I'll start the process of, turning it every few moments. Just to make sure that it's getting beautiful coloring on each side. I don't want it to cook on one side for too long. But as you guys can hear, there's not too much popping going on, which is a good sign because that means none of the sugar or the oil has escaped from inside of the empanada, which is key. If you start to see that your oil is popping out of control, that means that you have a hole somewhere in one of your empanadas and the sugar is leaking out into the grease, which you do not want to happen. But look, y'all, when I tell y'all, you make yourself a couple of these bad boys for your husband or your woman or your boo thing and get you some ice cream, you will be living your best life. I can promise you that. Oh yes. Oh yes. Oh yes, they are browning beautifully. Yeah. Huge. Oh yes, this is major. Major. And make sure y'all are using clean grease. Don't use no damn chicken grease, no old fish grease. Go on ahead and get yourself some clean vegetable oil. That way it'll have a beautiful browning color. It won't take on the flavor of anything else. Now I've heard of people doing it in peanut oil. I've never done that, so I can't tell you. If you want to do it, by all means, honey, do it. But don't come after me if they're nasty. I'm just saying. All right, y'all. So as you guys can see, these are browning beautifully, honey. Beautifully. This one here is pretty much ready to go. They have a beautiful brown color. You don't want them too dark, you guys. Don't let these burn. This is a really easy process. It does not take long to make. This took maybe a total of 3 minutes in total, but that more so will kind of depend on the type of pan you have. If you have a gas stove versus an electric stove, that kind of all depends. But what I'm going to go ahead and do is take this first one out. But as you guys can see, now we have a beautiful apple empanada. And it's much better than Taco Bell, huh? And we just gonna sit that bad boy right here to the side to let some of that excess oil come off. And this baby is also ready to go. So now, you guys, I'm just gonna repeat this step a few more times. And let me show you guys the salted caramel that I put on the top. Because honey, that's just how I am. I'm gonna give y'all a close-up shot of that. Don't worry. Oh, don't worry. Oh, don't worry. About a thing. Yes. What the song say? Because everything gonna be all right. Look at that, my God, on today. All right, you guys. So now I have them transferred over to the serving dish. What you could do to make this really cute for a dinner night is get yourself a nice ice cream scoop. Put yourself a scoop of vanilla here, a scoop of vanilla at the bottom. Put a cute little mint in it, maybe with a raspberry or strawberry. And you guys, this dessert would be everything. But we can't leave unless we top it off with the sea salt caramel from the Ghirardelli. So I just take it and I thinly go across the top. Just like that. And my God, on today. Baby! Oh God, oh God. There it is. I ain't got nothing else to say. Go on ahead and try the recipe if you want to, because I know you do. Look, these caramel empanadas, honey, are absolutely everything. You need to go on ahead and try this recipe and let me know what you guys think. Leave it down in that comment section below. But look, I appreciate you all so much for checking out this video today. And to anyone who is new to my channel, I hope you've enjoyed what you've seen thus far. And to all of my returning subscribers, y'all babies know I love y'all so much. And as always, y'all babies stay cute and take care. Bye, guys.
Simply Food by TY.